Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, I titled this message, Unbelief in Mental Instability. Unbelief in mental instability. Some individuals do not want to believe that a person who is typically on point, has their stuff together, is doing quite well in life, that they can ever be unstable. Some individuals don't want to believe that others can be mind controlled, brainwashed. Some don't want to believe that prescription medicine has side effects and can cause one to go off the deep end, so to speak. No, there are those individuals that they want to look at everyone as pretty much being stable and that their mindsets are pretty much together, that when something crazy happens, well, he or she is quite aware of events. So no, we're not going to buy into the excuse that, oh, well, she snapped. We're not going to look at the fact that, well, for years someone has been under some deep mind control or brainwashing. No, we're just not going to believe that prescription medicines have crazy side effects and will make people do off the wall things. No, we're just going to treat everybody as stable. Okay? Okay, I'm going somewhere with this, so please do continue to listen, because you see what happens when folks who think like this get in front of juries, when folks who think like this are at your family events, when you work with people with this sort of mindset who don't want to believe anything. Okay, and that they want to believe that their perception and their perception alone is correct, you will end up causing all sorts of conflict for people who are associated with these individuals. And you say, well, how can I create some type of conflict agreeing with folks who simply don't want to believe that one is under any type of brainwashing or, is taking a prescription medicine that has all sorts of side effects? I mean, how, can this sort of thing affect me? Well, these folks will convince you of their personal perception. They will create a scene. They will create events. They will twist some truths to make you think that the person who is under any sort of stress, duress, whatever you want to call it, was stable when certain events took place. And so you won't think beyond the scope of what they say. You won't delve deep. You won't research, and you definitely won't think that the same could possibly happen to you in the future. That you just might be subjected under some type of mind control, and you might do some things under mind control and not even realize it. Now, someone who has survived traumatic events, whether they were a part of a cult or a bad relationship or what have you, they can relate to a message like this because they know that they did some things that they know was not like them when they were with certain people or with certain groups. And people around them that know them well, yeah, I know that individual or that group had my baby under my control, you see, or my, loved one or what have you, because the person that I know would never have committed A, B, and C acts. Okay. We want to keep this in perspective, people, because see, if we start believing other people's perceptions who don't want to believe that this sort of thing exists, what happens is that we end up jumping on a bandwagon and we lose understanding and we lose compassion. Stay with me now. And then when we lose this sort of thing, then next thing you know, innocent folks also get caught up in the mix. Innocent folks that I didn't know what happened. I mean, suddenly I just had this spell. It was like I was under some type of, I don't know how to describe it. And before I know it, I just went and I did some things, you see. People can do all sorts of twisted things to get folks to do what they want. You might as well just go ahead and accept the truth for what it is. There are drugs out here that can be dropped into, all sorts of liquids and, put into little, what seems to be harmless pieces of candy, and then a person can go berserk. Okay. Now, for someone who has never experienced anything like that and has never bothered to think like that and will not exercise one's mind to even think beyond the scope of one's understanding, they're not going to believe anything. Nope, that just seems too far-fetched. That seems crazy. That seems weird. And who would want to do that? Well, I'm glad you asked. People who will do this sort of thing, to trick folks into taking certain things, to trick them into thinking a certain way and all of that. They have agendas, very important ones. They have reasons for why they do what they do. Some individuals are just vengeful and they don't like folks for any number of reasons. And so they will go above and beyond to destroy another human being's mindset. Others, they don't believe that they're doing anything wrong. I created the cult, and everybody, who's acting a little bit bizarre, well, I don't understand why they're acting that way. I mean, because the whole point of having the cult was we were supposed to be about love and peace and friendship, and then, I don't know, something happened. Well, could it be that maybe you were starving them, the reason why they flipped out? Could it be that you were telling them that they needed to believe the scripture a certain kind of way, the reason why they started taking some things literally that they should have never taken literally? Could it be that you have some unresolved issues, and so you decided that you wanted to create this cult and twist up their mindset, and cause all sorts of problems because you went through so much? I mean, says the individual who is very perceptive to the cult leader. And of course, they're going to come up with some excuses. They're going to say that you don't know what you're talking about. You're just nothing more than a troublemaker. Because one thing about it, when people come up with all of these strategies to twist up people's mindsets, whether they're using it through drugs or through some type of psychological tactics, or, they're altering their reality by, slipping in some drugs into some coffee and some juices and so forth. They don't think about the perceptive ones. They don't think about those who are discerning. They don't think about God moving on the spirits of men and women to expose them. They don't think about that. They think that they're getting away with something. And programming doesn't take for all. Okay, there are many people who are walking zombies and don't realize that they're walking zombies. They don't realize that they're walking dead because they spend hours upon hours upon hours sitting in front of television screens that are designed, the shows, I should say, the programming is designed to lull one to sleep. It is designed to cause one not to think deeply. It is designed to cause people to be so distracted that they're not interested in thinking about more important things like health, like money, like things related to government and so forth. Because I'm too busy laughing at the stupid stuff that's on the screen to give a crap about what's going on with laws, right? To care about this, that, and the other related to my family. Or maybe there is some quality information out there, but I'm not thinking about looking up that information, or I'm not going to think too deeply about that information because I'm too busy doing what? Right? Under television programming, under educational programming, under parental programming, under all sorts of programming. Military programming. So if my mind is centered on those sorts of things, why would I care about other stuff? You see, like I said, the programmers are not thinking too much about the small voices out here. They're not. But they spend a whole lot of money and a lot of time covering up and, coming up with new programming and, keeping secrets in the dark and everything else for those individuals who are considered very important people and who have a huge following and lots of money, lots of power, lots of fame. We've got to keep these folks under lock and key. These individuals right here cannot deviate from the script, because if they start talking If they start telling people the truth about what's going on behind the scenes, then they're going to create a massive uprising or some type of civil war, or they might cause the masses not to want to spend their money, with particular companies, and we cannot let that happen. Okay. So church programming, let's give them the basics. Let's talk about the stories, and let's talk about it in such a way that it keeps the people entertained as opposed to moving on their spirits to think deeply. So if I'm going to the church and week after week after week, I'm listening to stories, but I'm listening to the stories and I'm getting someone's interpretation from the stories that is pretty much watered down. Okay. I'm not going to do anything deep with that information other than come back and try to get some more information that will just give me a temporary fix about whatever the situation might be that I'm going through, or it might distract me away from what I need to deal with, especially if it deals with government types of stuff, or something that might expose some people, something that might cause one to suddenly stop being the child of darkness and want to become a child of light. We don't want that, says the evil one, says Satan's minion. You see, this sort of thing is scary because for some people, they are walking around like zombies, and they are committing all sorts of acts under some type of hypnosis, mind control, or what have you. And then when they start to break programming and they start seeing the light, so to speak, that's when handlers have to kill them. That's when handlers might have to do something to traumatize them so bad that they go back into their programming. And some of these movies expose some of this sort of thing. They don't give you, of course, all the details, but they do give you enough to know that some people are not operating like what you think, like what you have been told by media and others. That some people are in fact under some type of programming, and that they are doing some things based on whatever their puppet masters tell them. So my daughter is not really my daughter. My son is not really my son when he gets around certain people because of the influences, because of the drugs, because of the alcohol, or what have you. You can see it from that perspective, but can you see it when it comes to things in mainstream media where you've got congressmen and congresswomen, and you've got business owners and inventors, and you have government officials and law enforcement and military and so forth? Can you see it on that level? That some people saying what they're saying in front of the masses are not necessarily saying it based on their own personal opinion, but what has been fed to them under some heavy hypnosis, or under some type of drug, or under maybe some threats toward their family. If you keep on saying certain things, guess what? We want to take you out of here, and we're going to take your family out of here. Well, I don't care if you do anything with me, but you don't touch my family, okay? Then you start dancing by the beat of our drum. And then you get some folks that they don't need the threats, or maybe the threats don't work. So they come up with some other clever ways of getting into their spirit, into their mind, into their subconscious, and what have you. And so this is why we look at some people and we say, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. That was just crazy what she said, or what he said, or, oh my goodness, this person just died. I mean, for what? Why? Why would they kill him? Because he broke programming. He broke programming. Why is it that some people in your family is no longer close to other folks? Because somebody broke programming. You can recognize this when it comes to your family. Maybe you can't. Maybe you just feel like what you see is what you see. Your personal perception is what it is. Maybe you cannot see beyond your personal perception, or what society told you is a good mother, a good father, a good sister, brother, aunt, uncle, what have you. But folks on the outside looking in can see, and you don't discredit them or tell them that they don't know what they're talking about and everything else, when you yourself know the truth for what it really is. You see, this mind control business and, some of the other stuff that people do to manipulate other people, it is serious. It is serious, and it destroys households. It destroys people. Okay. So I want you all to just really think about these sorts of things before you go off and jump on that bandwagon of what you don't believe and know it is not possible. And why would so and so do this, that, and the other? Consider the things that are out here, the types of tools that are out here to get people to conform, the types of tactics that people spend much money and many years of education, of educating themselves to be able to persuade others to do what they want, which is ultimately what the devil wants, aka Satan, if you will. And that is to kill, steal, and destroy. The minute you detect that something is not right, that something is wrong, that people are starting to do something that is totally out of character, you've got to know that there are some strings being pulled somewhere, that someone is changing their hateful speech into some other kind of speech for whatever reason. Okay? Maybe it was hateful, but now it's murderous. Maybe it was murderous, but now they're talking about destroying the world. These individuals are out here, and these people are gaining a lot of momentum with all of their hidden agendas and so forth. Some of these people have personality disorders. They are sick people. And what happens is that certain groups will get with these sick people, knowing that they lack empathy, knowing that they have all sorts of mental issues, spiritual issues, and what have you, and they will use them as pawns in the game. Okay? And sometimes the family is quite aware of some things, and other times the family has no clue as to what is going on. All they know is that, well, my brother was a little quirky at times, but I wouldn't think that he would go so far as to shoot somebody or to blow up something. Well, with the right group, with the right mind control, with the right drugs, with the right tools, with the right types of threats, he's capable of doing just about anything. Come on now. You see, so while some people are just looking at, the basics of some things, why it is that some people do what they do, what have you. That's just the mere basics. You're just asking that simple question of why. But when you go and get the answers, when you start researching different stories as to why this celebrity suddenly died after he said this, that, and the other, okay? And it may not be right away. It might be years later. I mean, some of these folks are very patient about what they do. They will allow mind control to take place for a long while before they actually do some things or the subject does some things. The pieces of the puzzle slowly get put together, or the pieces of the puzzle are broken apart, fragmenting the mind, splintering the personality, doing any number of things. God shows me some interesting things in the spiritual realm, and then he backs up everything he says by pointing me in the direction of where the information is. You see, and I am showing you these things, and I'm making you aware of these things because I don't want some of you all being in the dark. Okay, children of darkness want to keep children of light in the dark. They don't want your light shining. So I thank you so much for taking this time out to listen. Please do take a moment to just pray and ask the Lord to give you guidance when it comes to these things that take place with people that we least expect, and the types of programming that's out here, the types of tools, the types of brainwashing and mind control that they use to keep people in check. And also look at the information when it comes to people breaking programming. Okay, these things are real, and we should not be in the dark. I thank you so much for taking the time out to listen, and to God be the glory.